Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners. Independently owned Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. It's 70s night here at Rogers Center. We're bringing back the 70s with music, with some of the uniforms. Many of the people working the ballpark have put on 70s attire. We're going to have music and highlights from the 70s all night long. Blue Jays hope they can recapture the magic they had last night with an 11th inning walk-off home run off the bat of Adam Lind. Buck Showalter's Orioles have not had a whole lot of fun here at Rogers Center. They have lost 15 in a row here. Take a look at the Orioles lineup. J.J. Hardy, Nick Markakis, Adam Jones, the top three in the order. The DH is Vladimir Guerrero. Matt Wieters hit a home run last night, his fourth career home run here at Rogers Center. Derek Lee, Mark Reynolds, Nolan Raimo, and Robert Andino continues to fill in second base for the regular Brian Roberts, who's on the disabled list and currently in Florida trying to overcome the impact of a concussion.
Baltimore comes in here hitting .254 as a team, so Ricky Romero will take the mound for his 14th start of the season, looking to get to 500, even that record at 6-6. Last time out, he pitched his second complete game, but in a losing cause. Gave up 3 earned runs, 8 innings pitched wasn't enough against the Kansas City Royals. Pitched against Arrieta back on June the 4th. These two matched up in that game down in Baltimore. In his career 9 starts, 3-3 with a .388 earned run average versus Baltimore.
Ricky Romero took a 3-1 lead into the bottom of the 6th inning the last time these two met against Arrieta, and then he gave up a bases-loaded home run, a grand slam to Mark Reynolds, and the Orioles would eventually win. Ricky Romero has had 6 straight games of 7 innings or more. He's been on quite a roll. J.J. Hardy is set. Here's the first pitch. It's a strike from Romero.
And if the Blue Jays could score runs for him, he gets some of the lowest run support in the American League. If they could score some runs for him, he had more than 5 wins this year.
He's ahead of J.J. Hardy, 0-2. That is the life of an ace. You're the #1 pitcher, and you're going to match up against other #1s, and runs are going to be tough to come by.
He's tough. He can handle it. He's a lot like Sean Markham was last year, when he had a lot of no decisions.
Curveball in the dirt. Aaron Sebia goes to first for the out. First strikeout of the night.
So let's take a closer look at tonight's starter for the Blue Jays. Ricky Romero's scouting report is brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners, attacking hitters. With his fastball, he is jumping ahead, using the fastball more, pitching off of it. He has a put-away pitch. In fact, I think he's got a couple of put-away pitches. That curveball that we just saw for the strikeout and a changeup. After 0-1 counts, 44 of his 75 strikeouts have been with breaking ball. Going deep, you mentioned it just now, Buck. At least 7 innings pitched his last 6 times out.
Throws another strike to Nick Markakis. Markakis has struggled this year, hitting just .249. He's hit well against Ricky Romero. He has 10 hits in 30 at-bats. Late on that pitch, and Romero is ahead 0-2. So one thing we saw with Markakis last night, it seemed like his timing is really off, and he's missing a lot of pitches in the zone. He's just late on them.
Yeah, the timing mechanism just isn't there. There are the numbers for Markakis over his last 15. He did pick up his 6th 3-hit game of the season last night.
Bounced right back over the middle. Escobar on the second base side of the infield makes the good play. 2 quick outs.
Defensively for the Blue Jays tonight, a couple of changes. Patterson, Davis, Bautista in the outfield. That's the save as last night. Juan Rivera will make his 20th start over at first base. JP Arancibia, Ricky Romero will form the battery tonight. Rivera has looked very good, I think, over at first base.
Done a heck of a job at first base. Looks very comfortable there. And now you got to think with interleague play coming that Rivera's going to lose some time, as Adam Lynn's going to have to play first base during National League games. Adam Jones goes after the first pitch. Romero's thrown nothing but strikes here in the first frame. Ground ball to second. A 1-2-3 first inning for Ricky Romero. He's off and running. Just 8 pitches for Romero. Dispatches the Orioles in order. Of this 3-game series. Now it's time to take a look at the Blue Jays lineup. Blue Jays won a thriller in last night's game, 6-5 and 11. They pounded out 13 hits. Top of the order has been good. Escobar and Patterson have been great table setters for Bautista and Lynn. Lynn with the home run last night, his 12th, his 3rd walk-off home run of his career. Juan Rivera is at first base. Arancibia continues to play practically every day behind the plate. Hill, Davis, and Nix round out the lineup, and they are set to face Jake Arrieta.
Jake Arrieta takes the mound looking to become the American League's second 9-game winner, trying to join John Lester atop the winning board in the American League. Didn't allow a run in a season-high tying 7 innings of 2-hit ball last Friday against Tampa Bay. Arrieta won both of his career starts versus the Blue Jays. One of them, that game we just talked about, June the 4th, 3 runs in 6 innings pitched against Toronto.
That was up against Ricky Romero. Same pitching matchup we have here tonight. You know, Escobar will lead things off. Escobar had 3 hits in the game last night. He also walked and scored a run. First pitch upstairs from Arrieta.
So much has been made about the Baltimore Orioles and their young pitchers that have been coming through their farm system. I think Jake Arrieta might be the best of all of them. I think his mechanics are outstanding. The ball comes out of his hand free and easy. The last couple of years, Brad Bergeson's come up here, Jason Birkin, Brian Mattis, Chris Tillman. But I think it's Jake Arrieta who might have the biggest future for him.
There's a strike. It's 2-1. Arrieta's just 25 years old. Escobar's had a good run against the Orioles this season. We talked about 3 hits in last night's game. Upstairs, 3-1. One thing he's done very effectively is get on base. Not your prototypical leadoff hitter. He doesn't have Rajai Davis's speed. He doesn't have the ability of Juan Pierre to bunt and get on. But boy, his eye has been good.
He has the good eye at the plate, and if you make a mistake, he's got the power to take you deep.
And There's a shot to left field, right on cue. Pat Tabler called it. Home run, Escobar.
Home run number 8 for Escobar. One of the things that Arrieta has had problems with is keeping the ball in the ballpark. This is the 11th home run given up. And it's a no doubt about it to Escobar. 3-1. He's going to groove a fastball to him. And he's strong. RBI number 26. And it's right in the happy zone for Escobar. Deep and no doubt about it to left field.
4th hit in the series for Escobar. And that home run has been a problem for Arrieta. Escobar with 22 RBIs as the leadoff hitter. Only Jacoby Ellsbury has more. Michael Brantley of the Indians also has 22 ribbies hitting out of the leadoff spot. He's not your prototypical leadoff hitter, but he's getting the job done.
He can get you a lead very quickly.
Corey Patterson bounces the curveball foul. Patterson had a home run against Arrieta the last time these two met on an 0-2 fastball. Hit it onto the flag court at Camden Yards. Off the glove, but there's that shift as Hardy was right behind the bag at second. Makes an easy play of it.
One out here in the first inning, so let's take a look at the scouting report for 25-year-old Jake Arrieta. Established the fastball. He's got a good one. He can rush it at 95 or 96, but I think he needs to establish it. He's got a strong curveball that he can use for a strikeout pitch. I think the key for Jake Arrieta, he needs to get quick outs. 17.4 pitches per inning, which is the second highest in the American League.
Bautista goes after the first pitch and pops it up to right. 2 down.
Defensively for the Baltimore Orioles, they have committed 44 errors this year. And here's how they line up. Nolan Reimold will get the start tonight with the left-hander on the mound, his 14th in the outfield. Jones and Markakis, good throwing outfielder. Andino Hardy up the middle. Mark Reynolds, 14 errors at third base. Eric Lee at first base. Leaders in Arrieta, and there's Nolan Reimold. Team is 7-6 when he starts in left field for him.
Adam Lynn with the walk-off home run in the 11th. That led off the 11th inning. Came off Koji Uehara, his 12th of the season. Big numbers across the board. 331 average and 39 driven in.
I was thinking about that home run that we saw last night from Adam Lind, and we're heading to Cincinnati after tomorrow's game. And Adam Lind reminds me a lot of Joey Votto. How still he is at the plate. You don't see a lot of movement. He uses his hands, and he's got power to all fields.
There's a ball driven to left. That'll get down in front of Reimold. They'll play it on a big hop. Boy, there's another great swing going the other way with that pitch away from him.
Yeah, where do you pitch him? If you try and throw him in like Uehara did last night, he could turn on the ball and hit it out. If you stay away like Arrieta does here against Lind, he is able to stay still in plate coverage and get the big part of the bat on the ball. That's why he's hitting .330.
2 outs. Juan Rivera, the first baseman tonight. Blue Jays, on the strength of a leadoff home run, have taken a 1-0 lead. Rivera shoots it into right field. That'll get down in front of Markakis. Lynn makes the turn, but he'll stop there. Markakis has a good arm. Back-to-back 2-out hits.
That is hard to do with Juan Rivera. He sat around for the last couple of days, didn't get many at-bats. Came in a mop-up role against the Red Sox. First pitch he sees, he slashes it into right field for a base hit.
Well, that is really a tough thing to do, to sit around and not get the at-bats, and your timing suffers. But to his credit, Rivera works hard in BP and is able to pick up a knock in his first at-bat. First and second, 2 down. JP Arencibia. A strike on the outside corner. JP went 1 for 5 in the game last night. He hit a leadoff double and was thrown out trying to advance on a ball in the dirt. Matt Wieters threw a strike to third to throw him out. It's a hard slider. Arrieta's ahead 0-2.
He has got some power too. He showed it in that game, that double that you were just talking about, the right center field. He's got a natural uppercut swing that gets the ball in the air. So he is going to be a 20 to 25 home run type of hitter for me.
That's the pitch he drives so well to the opposite field. That fastball that's up out over the plate. You saw his numbers hitting 167 over that last stretch, and that has a lot to do with the fact he's got a pretty banged up thumb. His left thumb, his catching thumb, has really taken a beating lately, and that's what's so amazing about offensive catchers. They can put up numbers with all those physical maladies. Stays alive, got a piece of that.
Says it doesn't hurt him when he is catching, as long as he catches it in the pocket. Where he really feels it is swinging the bat, and it's his left hand, like you were just saying, and that's your strong hand. That's the guide hand that gets the bat head out.
And when you get through that hitting zone, that thing rolls over and you feel the entire force of that bat on the thumb. 0-2, 2 outs, 2 on. Ball is bounced. Wieters does a real good job of keeping that ball in front of him. Of course, he has a lot of equipment. He's 6'5", and there's a lot of body to put in front of that ball.
That's a lot of chest protector right there to block it. Reminds me of Terry Kennedy, who was a good catcher, big, strong, physical catcher back in the 80s. That time he just knocks it down and keeps it in front of him.
Kennedy caught briefly for the Orioles. 1-2, 2 outs. Bouncing ball, and Dina will go to the bag for the force out. Aaron Sebe is retired, but Yunel Escobar, his 8th home run leading off this game, his 4th career leadoff home run, first of the season, 1-0 Jay. '70s, the home run leaders for that decade. Willie Stargell of the Pirates hit 296. Reggie Jackson started out with the Athletics in the early '70s, went to Baltimore for 1 year, then went to the Yankees. Johnny Bench, of course, the Big Red Machine. Bobby Bonds, Angels, Giants, Yankees, and Lee May, another Big Red Machine power hitter.
Part of the big trade that brought Joe Morgan to Cincinnati before the 1972 season. Lee May also played for these Baltimore Orioles in the late '70s.
Ricky Romero's take to a 1-0 lead, set to work to Vladimir Guerrero. Guerrero goes after the first pitch. Big bouncing ball to Nix at third. 1 out. Ricky Romero's a little different than we have seen the last few starts. Last couple of starts, it's taken him about 2, maybe 3 innings before he really gets zeroed in. He hadn't thrown a ball yet tonight.
Look at those eyes right there. Look at the game face that he has put on. I don't think he has thrown a ball yet. 9 pitches, 9 strikes for Romero. He is locked in early.
Matt Wieters had the home run in last night's game. That was a 2-run home run. Came off Mark Sepchinski in the 8th inning. Orioles scored 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. They tied it at 5-all, and that would be the last scoring the Wieters home run until Adam Lynn won the game with his home run in the 11th.
Lots of chances for both teams.
There's a fly ball into right field. Bautista backs up and makes a play. 2 quick outs here in the 2nd.
Both teams had plenty of opportunities to score runs. Just hitting with runners in scoring position just wasn't very good last night.
Orioles were 1 for 12, while the Blue Jays went 1 for 13. That's in the not very good category. McDerrick Lee, first baseman, went 0 for 4 in last night's game. Romero really focused and working very quickly. Looks like he's on a mission tonight.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. On a mission to win a ball game. No messing around. Get it, stay right over that rubber. Right on that pitching rubber, and take the sign and let's go.
Another fly ball to right. Bautista's got room over near the foul line and makes the catch. Ricky Romero needs just 6 pitches in the 7th. He's retired all 6 Orioles he's faced. Blue Jay has joined the starters on the starter pitcher bench. That's Zach Stewart next to Brandon Morrow. He has just come out of the clubhouse, called up from AA New Hampshire. He will make his major league debut here tomorrow against Jeremy Guthrie and the Baltimore Orioles. Boy, you got to think his mind is spinning right now, huh?
Good idea to bring him in for a day.
Aaron Hill, high fly ball to left. Rimo over onto the track in front of the wall and makes the catch. Hill trying to make it 2 games in a row with a homer.
Just missed it. But just bring him in a day, get the lay of the land, get a feel for where you are, get your bearings, and then take the mound tomorrow afternoon.
Well, he's looking around, isn't he? Like, wow, is this something special? 24 years old, just up from AA. He's never pitched higher than AA ball. He came from the Cincinnati Reds in the Scott Rowland deal, along with Edwin Encarnacion and Josh Renicky. Rajai Davis is retired on the first pitch. 2 quick outs.
The thrill of racing returns with the Honda Indy Toronto. Catch all the adrenaline and excitement July 8th to 10th. Get your tickets at HondaIndyToronto.com.
2 outs here in the 2nd inning. Blue Jays lead it 1-0. Yunel Escobar with his 8th home run of the season. A leadoff shot off of Jake Arrieta.
That home run by Escobar snapped a 9 consecutive scoreless inning streak by Arrieta.
Arrieta was the winning pitcher the last time he and Ricky Romero hooked up in Baltimore, June 4th. Well, that's a good slider down and away in a good spot. Bit of a struggle for Jason Nix over his last 12 games. He was really swinging the bat well. Then he had the injury that forced him on the disabled list, and it was a real battle when he came back. And that's why what Adam Lynn's doing is so remarkable, to miss significant time and not miss a beat at the plate.
Nix's injury was the legs, and you know, when you're building a building, you have to have a good base. And it's the same way with a hitter. You have to have a good base, and if you've knocked that out, or if you've suffered some kind of injuries down there, you're just not sure of yourself when you're going to push off or that landing leg.
Two hopper to J.J. Hardy. Haven't made an error all year, and he throws out Nix. Another good inning. Both pitches are in a groove. 6 pitches for Arrieta. That decade of the 70s, and the top grossing movies of the 70s. Star Wars led the list. Jaws, The Exorcist, Grease. How about The Sting and National Lampoon? We saw them all, didn't we, Teddy?
My favorite, The Sting. I love, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. The Exorcist, whenever I hear that music, I still get scared.
Pretty incredible that those movies still bring back great memories for so many people. This is not a good memory for Ricky Romero. Mark Reynolds hit a grand slam home run off Romero the last time these two hooked up. A first pitch home run was the difference in the ball game. Romero was leading 3-1, bottom of the 6th, bases loaded. Reynolds hit his first career grand slam.
And he certainly has enough power. Look what he has done over the last 6 games. He has topped the 30 home run mark 2 times in his career. All or nothing.
Romero ahead, 1-2. Another good curveball. Gets Reynolds. Second strikeout for Romero, both coming on the curveball.
Set up with the fastball. Watch how he gets on top of this ball. Really gets on and pulls it down. He gets the free swinging Mark Reynolds. Strikeout number 2.
Nolan Raimo gets the start in left field. He has a home run against Ricky Romero, but that's his only hit. Makes that cutter downstairs. Just 15 games for Reimold. He started out in the minor leagues. Well, that's that good changeup, and when he throws it like that, not many people are going to hit it.
You know, it's not like the changeup we saw last night from Carlos Villanueva. His is 78, 80 miles an hour. Romero's is a lot harder, in the upper 80s, but it's got good movement on it. It just dives straight down. When he has that working and when he's got that curveball working, it could be tough.
Another good changeup. Even though it was high, it had such great movement and good arm action that Reimold was fooled. Been a tough stretch for the Orioles left fielder. Another good curveball. Boy, everything he's throwing right now is crisp.
Yeah, crisp, and he's throwing it for a strike. I like the fact how he is really getting on top of his curveball and extending down through it. Not trying to guide it into the strike zone. He's throwing it into the strike zone.
Changeup, strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the third.
Watch the tumbling action on this changeup. It's almost like a palm ball, a pitch that was popular back in the 70s, where the ball tumbles down like a split finger fastball, and very tough on righties. Right-handers hitting just .227 against Romero this year.
Robert Andino, the number 9 hitter. First pitch strike. Well, you step in against Romero tonight, you better have it ready. He is pounding the zone with everything. Been so much talk about the development of young pitchers since the demotion of Kyle Drabek. John Farrell, talking about Ricky Romero, said he's had a straight line development, just getting better and better with each game.
And I guess that's what you want from young pitchers. You don't want the peaks and the valleys and the highs and the lows. You just, like a nice bull market run in the stock market, gets straight up for long periods of time.
Every number has improved across the board for Ricky Romero over the 2.5 seasons. The only thing that's lacking this year, his wins. But he's pitched well enough to win many of the games over his last 6 starts. He's just 3-2. But as Pat mentioned earlier, not much run support.
Not much run support. 7 innings. He's had a couple of complete games, and he hasn't won either one of them this year.
2-2 to Andino. Gets a piece of it. He stayed on that changeup. Romero has improved each year in his strikeouts per 9 innings, his opponent's batting average, hits per 9 innings, walks to strikeout ratio. Every one of those categories getting better and better each year.
And the only way you get better is get out there and compete.
Bouncing ball. Escobar at short. In time, Romero has gone 1 time through the order, and he's been perfect. 3 up, 3 down in the 6th. Reynolds chases that curveball in the dirt. Ryan 1977, the notables, of course. We saw earlier the video of the opening game. Toronto Blue Jays against the Chicago White Sox. World Series, the New York Yankees, the Stanley Cup, the Montreal Canadiens. Super Bowl was all about the Oakland Raiders. Hubert Green won the U.S. Open, Star Wars, and Saturday Night Fever. We lost Ronnie Van Sant and Groucho Marx. We gained one Casey Martinez, who was born in 1977. But we have a lot of information, a lot of things to look back in these 70s. And we have to thank Scott Carson. He is king of all stats, so he brings all these numbers together and compiles all the information for us.
Thank you, sir. I like the fonts. That's how it was back in the day, wasn't it?
Boy, it was. That's all you saw. Batting average, home runs, RBIs. Jake Arrieta is trailing 1-0, but he's ahead of Yunel Escobar. Going 2. Escobar hit the leadoff home run on a 3-1 pitch. Escobar's 4th career leadoff homer. Ball is ripped into center. That'll get down in front of Adam Jones. Escobar's 2 for 2. Leadoff man's on here in the 3rd. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Florida Marlins are hanging tough despite the fact that they have lost their big right-hander, Josh Johnson. He has just been moved to the 60-day disablement. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be any longer coming back. They just needed a 40-man roster spot. Corey Patterson grounded to second his first time up. Escobar doesn't run a lot. They're liable to play hit and run more often than ask him to steal.
Escobar 2 for 3 in stolen bases, but that's why they have him batting second. Corey Patterson with that hole on the right side.
Corey Patterson got him a rundown. He went around first too far and he gets tagged out. Boy, that's a big mistake there. He got Arrieta on the ropes and Patterson went too far around first, and the Orioles played pitch and catch as they were able to cut off the ball from Markakis, but Patterson picks up his first hit of the night.
Runner on first base, left-handed batter. You want to try and take one shot, pull that ball through the hole, which is exactly what Corey Patterson does. Now, if you're the runner, all you have to do is watch the flight of the ball. If it's over the head of that cutoff man, you can go ahead and go to third. But if it's in line, just like Markakis is, you don't want to take a wide turn, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to get caught in a rundown and stop a big inning from happening.
Jose Bautista. Corey Patterson went too far around the bag. It's right. You just run with your head up, watch the flight of the ball. It's going right to the cutoff man, and you just stay close to first. Escobar's at third for Jose Bautista. It's a gimme RBI in this situation. The infield's back. Get a fly ball to the outfield deep enough, you're going to score him. You get a ground ball up the middle, you're going to knock him in. Bautista hasn't had an awful lot of opportunities like this,
where they pitch to him with runners on base, 2 play the infield back.
Changeup. Bautista thought it was off the plate and low. Jerry Lane called it a strike. And now Jose has to battle.
This is where he has been making adjustments this year. The batting average, as he stands in that box at 337, he's made the adjustments, hit the ball all over the field.
Way outside. We have talked about Adam Lynn's presence, and all of a sudden the pitchers are throwing Bautista a few more hittable pitches.
Yeah, I get that feeling too, that they're starting to throw pitches that he can hit. Before, it wasn't even a pitch around the strike zone.
Boy, he fought that one off. Pretty good pitch from Arrieta right in on the hands of Bautista.
A couple of weeks ago, they were playing the shift against Bautista, where they were playing 3 infielders on the left side of the field, and he recognized that and shot 3 balls to the outfield between first and second.
Ball in the dirt. In the 70s, it would have taken 3 weeks to figure out Bautista is not pulling the ball anymore. Now it's instantaneous. You watch the highlights after the game and you see what everybody else is doing and you adjust your defense accordingly.
There was no internet back then. There was no direct TV, satellite TV.
You had to read the box scores to see what happened. 3-2, 1 out. Stays on that outside fastball and fouls it up. Now, wasn't that something? You'd see a team, first time you'd seen them maybe for 3-4 weeks. You'd have to remind yourself who was on the team. Okay, let's see. Arrieta's still pitching there. And who's in their bullpen?
You had to do everything yourself.
Yep.
You know, write it down in your little notebook to remind yourself. Now you're just a click away.
Another full count pitch. Got him. Took something off that pitch. Bautista strikes out. Big strikeout for Arrieta.
Backup breaking ball, and it comes at a good time for Arrieta. It looks like a hanger, but Bautista commits. Can't get the big barrel of the bat on the ball, and Arrieta has his first strikeout. Now they're going to walk Adam Lynn. They know that he is starting to swing a hot bat.
Again, it's interesting how quickly this changed. The last series in Baltimore, Jose Bautista was getting the intentional walks. Buck Showalter says, I believe my eyes, and right now Lind is hot. So he's not going to pitch to Adam Lind. Bautista strikes out on a backup breaking ball. Then Juan Rivera is going to get a chance with 2 outs. So there's ball 4. Lind will take first base with 2 outs. Fans, remember Canucks Connected Stanley Cup Edition Game 7 post-game show following the Canucks game on Sportsnet East Ontario, West and Pacific. Stanley Cup wrap-up, celebrations, analysis, reaction. Everything here after Game 7 tonight. Lots of Canucks fans in attendance, and it's the final game of the Stanley Cup Championship tonight. Juan Rivera had a single to right his first time up. Arrieta trying to minimize the impact of a couple of hits and an intentional walk. Got a big strikeout of Bautista. Corey Patterson ran into an out. He ran into an out, ran in first base. Rivera down the left field line, but that ball is going to hook foul into the second deck.
Yeah, and this is where Juan Rivera's got to pick up his teammate right here. Pick up a 2-out RBI single here. Keep that momentum over in that third base dugout. You don't see Bautista strike out very often with a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. They ran into an out like you just mentioned. Big chance here for a teammate to pick up his buddy.
Bautista has been carrying the team most of the year. 1-1, 2 outs. He went too far. Boy, this is a big inning for Arrieta. It could have been disastrous. First 2 guys he faced in the inning get base hits. Corey Patterson is picked off at first base after rounding the base too far. Bautista strikes out. If Arrieta can get out of this inning without allowing the Blue Jays to score, he'll have boosted his confidence dramatically. And he does it. Boy, that's a good 2-seam fastball down and in. He strikes out 2 in the inning. He ends up giving up 2 hits, intentional walk, and no runs. It's a 1-0 game after in St. Mary's, Ontario, Saturday, June 18th. They'll begin at 11 a.m. The Blue Jays would like to congratulate Tom Henke on his induction into that Hall of Fame. For more information, visit baseballhalloffame.ca this Saturday, June 18th. Tom Henke will join some of his teammates in that Canadian Hall of Fame.
I know his nickname was the Terminator, but it should have been Game Over. Because whenever he came in, the game was over.
J.J. Hardy, fair ball down the left field line. He sat back on the breaking ball. That'll go all the way to the wall. Hardy is headed for second. And he will stop there. Boy, he did a good job. That curveball stayed on the inside part. He kept his hands back and was able to keep it fair down the third base line.
Waited and waited and waited. But you're right, kept the hands back, and with a short swing, gets it by Jason Nix down the left field line. Cruises into second base with his 9th double. Good start here for the Orioles.
Hardy's done a nice job hitting in that leadoff spot. This is his 6th game, top of the order, and he's been a pretty decent table setter in the absence of Brian Roberts. Nick Markakis grounded to short his first time up. Romero misses downstairs. Oh. You mentioned Tom Henke going into the Hall of Fame and the fact that the game was over. He changed the fortunes of the organization when he came up mid-season in 1985. Had a pretty good team then. We didn't have a closer, and when he came on the scene and moved into that closer's role, it turned around the entire organization's future.
Just another brilliant acquisition by Pat Gillick and the scouts in the front office of the Blue Jays back then.
Cliff Johnson for Tom Henke. Pretty good deal.
Well, they recognized that Henke, it wasn't happening for him with the Rangers. Doug Rader was the manager over there, and I don't think he really liked Henke. He was a starter as ball 4 goes to Markakis. But the scouts were out there, and they were watching Henke, and they saw something special in that right arm.
Jason Frazier appeared in his 440th game here last night. He moved ahead of Dave Stieb on the all-time Blue Jays franchise list for most games. Dwayne Ward is top of the list, and then there is Tom Henke, 446 games. And before it's all said and done, Jason Frazier will have the most appearances in franchise history. Dave Stieb, of course, was the starter, and a great starter. The rest of the guys on that list were relievers. So the Orioles are threatening here in the 4th inning. First 2 reach. Now Adam Jones is up. Jones grounded to second his first time up.
For the most part, they have silenced Adam Jones so far through 1 game and 1 at bat here. His last 12 games, he has had 6 multi-hit games. That average now up to 293 and good production.
Jones has never hit well here at Rogers Stadium, just a 205 career average. He's played in 28 games. And Seavey had that ball pop out of his glove, but Hardy had to hold his ground at second. Done a nice job hitting with runners in scoring position. That's a pretty high average, and obviously he's their best hitter. They have him in the 3rd spot for a reason.
30 of his 36 RBIs with runners in scoring position. Wonder why that is. A guy can come into a stadium like this. This is a good hitter's ballpark, and not have the success.
Quality of pitchers, maybe. There's been some good pitchers over the few years here. Jones is late on that fastball. There's only one guy I ever heard that said he didn't like hitting him, and it surprised the heck out of me.
Was he a Blue Jay?
No, he was a visiting player.
A visiting player.
Hall of Famer. Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs
didn't like hitting here. He said he never felt right, never felt like he could pick up the ball. Really interesting that he just had trouble hitting in this ballpark.
That guy never had trouble hitting in any
he could
ballpark.
hit anywhere. He could hit in the parking lot with the lights off. Romero all of a sudden having trouble with the strike zone. He threw nothing but strikes to start this game, and now he has had a walk here in the inning, and he has got an even count, 2-2.
We're laying off the changeup now. The changeups that he was throwing for strikes, they were swinging at him first couple of innings. Now they are taking it. So he's got to go back to something that he could throw for a strike.
Willie Randall back on the bench as Russell has returned to the third base coaching box. Jones tries to shoot one down the right field line.
His numbers, and we've talked about the first couple of innings here, are a lot better than what he shows. His last 6 starts, 3-2. Look at the earned run average, just over 2. 1 base runner per inning. But in those losses, he has only had 3 runs to work with.
For comparison's sake, Jake Arrieta, his mound opponent tonight, has been staked to an average of 7.07 runs per start. Jones chases that off-speed pitch and he strikes out. Boy, that's a huge strikeout for Ricky Romero. His 4th already tonight.
He didn't take that one. With 2 strikes, he's got a guard against anything. That time it's in the dirt. Strikeout number 4. Yeah, you're right. Arrieta, those 7-point whatever runs per game is the 5th most in baseball.
1 out now. Double play is important for Romero, and there it is. Bouncing ball to short. Escobar to Hill for 1. Back to first. Double play bustle. Ricky Romero gets the first 2 guys on against him, and the strikeout and the double play. Blue Jays have been great middle infield all year long. Led the pitchers with 186 wins in the 70s, but what do you really think about with Jim Palmer when you think about pitching and Palmer in his career?
Not the 3 Cy Youngs. The jockey underwear commercials. And
How about that?
I want to let you know he just leaned over here in between innings, and when he saw that coming up there, and he asked the name of our producer, he's going to go find him after the game for putting that on the air.
Jim Palmer here, of course, doing the color work for the Orioles TV broadcast. Now, you got to have fun if you can't laugh at yourself. He's the one that did it. There's a pop-up off the bat of J.P. Arancibia, and 1 quick out here. George Poulos and Ricky Romero having a bit of a conversation on the bench, and it's kind of curious. You can see Poulos is looking at Romero. That is good news. That's the ring finger. And generally, pitchers will deal with that middle finger problem. That's where you get the most resistance. But obviously, we don't know what the extent of that concern is, but at least it's that 3rd ring finger. that one is the one that has the least impact on a pitcher.
Maybe when he's throwing his changeup, that's about where it comes. Those last couple of fingers, you get that last feel when you throw that good changeup. So we will monitor that and watch it.
Now that's probably the reason that after throwing nothing but strikes, he had a little bit of a problem in the fourth. But the strikeout and double play ended the Oriole threat. One out here in the fourth inning. Jake Arrieta going for his 9th win of the season.
The whole key for him is throwing strikes. In Friday's 7-0 win versus Tampa, he threw 72 of his 98 pitches to the outer third of the strike zone, just trying to pound away to both lefties and righties. That 72 of 98 was the highest percentage of his career in one game. Just try to throw the fastball. Let's keep it away. Make the batters reach for it.
Hill jumps on that high fastball, but Raimo got a good jump and hauls it in just before the warning track.
His last 12 starts has been very good. Best for the Birds. 7-2 with a 390 earned run average. You mentioned the runs that he gets. 5th most in baseball. His batting average against this year, 229, is the 12th lowest in the American League. So there's some good numbers all around for Arrieta.
I have no problem with that run support. To me, starting pitching, their whole assignment is to win a game. I don't care if they score you 10 runs a game as long as you win them.
Yeah, just don't give up 11.
Rajay Davis was a ground out victim his first time up. 2 outs here in the fourth. Went after that hanging breaking ball, and why not? I don't mind that swing right there. If you're going to go after a breaking ball, that's the one you want to chase.
Swing up and keep it up there, just like Aaron Hill did yesterday with the home run. It's a high pitch, and he kept his bat up there.
Fourth inning with 2 outs. Only run of the ball game came on the leadoff home run by Yunel Escobar. It was a fastball on the outside corner. Breaking ball bounced foul. 1-0 game here tonight. And 1-0 games have been quite prominent around baseball this season. Last night again, the Pittsburgh Pirates and Houston Astros had a 1-0 game. That was the 21st 1-0 game of the season.
How about all the pitchers they used in that game?
They used 10 pitchers in that game, something you don't expect until September. But Pittsburgh all of a sudden at 500. I didn't see that coming, did you?
No. We got a chance to see the Pirates this spring when they faced the Blue Jays. We televised the game, and we kept saying to ourselves, who's going to be pitching for these guys?
Poked off the end of the bat. Derek Lee overhand, and just in time, Bob Davidson, the first base umpire, calls him out. Torey Lovella wasn't so sure. It's a 1-0 game here after 4. Now it's time for a Connected Update with Jamie and Greg, live from the Blackberry broadcast. that, we're going to go back and look at one of the great players of the 70s. John Mayberry, 15 seasons in the big leagues. He hit 255 home runs, and he is joining us tonight, and I can speak from experience. You enjoyed hitting those 255 home runs, didn't you?
And 2 got rained out, Buck.
But you're not counting.
Yeah, I count them all. But it was just a great thrill to play Major League Baseball. It's something that I wanted to do all my life, and got a chance to meet a lot of great people, and you included, and Pat, of course. And it was just a remarkable journey.
You grew up in Detroit, and obviously a lot of those great Tiger teams and people you looked up to, and then you got a chance to play in front of your hometown against some of the great ones like Mickey Lolich and Willie Horton and all those. So how special was that?
Well, Buck, I think you know me too well, because good and well I didn't like to face Mickey Lolich in front of about 50 passes from my hometown. But the Willie Horton, when I was a kid in high school, he gave me some bats to work my way up through the minor leagues, and of course Gates Brown, he helped me out. And of course, Al Kaline, I remember I put the tag on him one day in spring training, and he was one of those guys that you really looked up to. He was our star, like Ted Williams in Boston and Mickey Mantle in New York. We had Al Kaline. So I had a good group of guys to look up to.
Mickey Lolich was a great pitcher. Did you ever get him?
Yeah, I got him. I finally
got
him.
Tell me about it.
I finally got Mickey. He lost about 7 or 8 miles an hour on his fastball, and they traded him to San Diego after I got him. But I hit 2 home runs off of him, but those are the only 2. And he was one-time 5th on the all-time strikeout list, and he was a great pitcher and a gentleman as well.
Talk about your experience here in Toronto. You came here in Toronto in 1978, and the team was on the upswing then. What was your time like here in Toronto at that time?
Well, Buck, I tell you, I felt very comfortable coming to Toronto. Of course, I grew up in Detroit. I used to come to Toronto and play against the North York All-Stars when I was like 10, 11, or 12 years old. And at the old exhibition, when I was in the on-deck circle between doubleheaders and so forth, and a couple of guys would come down and say, "John, you remember me?" I say, "Not really." And they showed me a picture of when I was in a Little League uniform, a team called the Mohawks. And we would play and go over to their house and have lunch and go back and play a doubleheader. So Toronto and their fans and their people has always been friendly to me.
Those teams back then, what was it like playing? You were a veteran playing on a young team, a new team?
Well, we had a few veterans, Rico Carty and Otto Velez had been around, and Al Woods had been around. But, I had fortunate enough to see Willie Upshaw come up, and Lloyd Mosby and Tony Fernandez and Alfredo Griffin, and those guys really did a good job. And Rico Carty helped me a lot, as far as, when you go to another team, you share information. And he helped me hit 2 home runs off of Nolan Ryan one day because I hadn't even fouled the ball off of him for 10 years. But just sharing that information really helped me. So it was a great experience.
You also met some good people here that were part of the building of this organization, like the late Bobby Maddock. And I know you had good feelings about Bobby Maddock and what he did and what he meant for you as a player.
Oh, I was kind of down, coming from Kansas City over here. And Pat Gillick and Paul Beeston and Bobby Maddock and those guys really gave me a boost. And Bobby Maddock was the type of guy who had a lot of compassion for a ball player, especially with the old Negro League guys. He saw him play when he was coming up as a kid, and he always thought that black players can play just as good as white players, and he always shared that information with me. And when he got to be the manager, he was the type of guy that you would go all out for, and he stuck with you through slumps. He was very patient. I fooled around, hit 30 home runs for him. Al Woods hit 300. Otto had 21 home runs. He was calling Otto the Swatto. So he was just real uplifting, very knowledgeable, and I ended up working for him in the minor leagues, and we came along. We had Fred McGriff and Cecil Fielder and all those kind of guys. So I can't say enough about Bobby Maddock. He was the ultimate baseball man.
You have a son now that's just playing in professional baseball, played at Stanford, now he's with the Phillies. Talk about John Mayberry Jr. and how he's making his way toward the big leagues again. Well,
John Mayberry Jr. is in the minor leagues, but he's a big league ball player. I think he's the best athlete in baseball. He can run, throw, hit for power, and it just takes some at bats. These guys, they're good and they know how to pitch, and they kind of stay away from his power. He got a lot to learn, but once he gets it, I think you're going to really have something.
in Kansas City, you were the hitting coach when I was there, and young Junior would come out to the ballpark when he was a little kid, and he had all the stances down. Do you remember
He
that?
sure did, Pat. He had yours. He had
Yeah.
your stance, and of course, you know, you was the best bases loaded hitter I think we ever seen in our life. And he had your stance, and his favorite was Billy Buckner.
Billy Buckner.
Billy Butler had all the hits. You know, he had like 2,700 hits at the time. He was just a great hitter. We had a lot of good hitters. Yourself and Seitzer. And
How about Bo Jackson?
Bo Jackson was pumping him out. He like thumped Junior upside the head when he was like 8 or 9 years old. He said, "Get out the way, boy." And Danny Tartabull and those guys. So he kind of fit right in. And, you know, he grew up in the clubhouse, and he still remember those days.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be a big leaguer. When I saw him going through everybody's stance, George Brett's stance and everything, that guy's going to be a big leaguer.
You know, it's a funny thing. You know, about 100 years ago, I did the same thing.
Really?
I was going through Mickey Mantle's stand.
Well, you had Willie Stargell stand.
I had Wilbur, Donnell, Starger. I did the Yastrzemski. I did them all, you know, until I found out when it worked for me.
Every once in a while, you'd break out Willie Stargell when you were in a slump.
When I went to the slump, I went to Willie Stargell. I had a chance to talk to Big Willie down in Bradenton, Florida, when we was in Fort Myers training. And Willie said, "If you ever go into a slump, try to put that bottom finger over the knob. It'll help you hit the low ball better." And I never looked back.
Ricky Romero ahead of Nolan Rimo here. Ball in 2 strikes. We're in the 5th inning. Blue Jays lead 1-0. It's 70s night, and we're pleased to be joined by John Mayberry, one of the former Blue Jays that played here in the 70s. And John, this baseball world has changed dramatically, but there are a lot of good things going on here in Toronto. And have you had a chance to watch what's going on up here lately?
Well, a little bit. You know, everybody, of course, you know, heard about Bautista, and of course Escobar got traded, and he's over here having a pretty good year. So they've got a lot of good things going on.
John Mayberry, thanks so much
buddy.
Join us. We're great to see you.
Anytime. Always a pleasure.
Always.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure.
Anytime.
Cards with helpful safety tips for kids. Thursday, June 16th, the Blue Jays will take on the Orioles in the series finale. The game starts at 12:37 p.m. Kids 14 and under will receive these exclusive baseball cards. For more information, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. This has always been a popular promotion here, having the Ontario Fire Services work with the Blue Jays to create those baseball cards. I can remember a set they had in the early 80s that were very popular among the kids.
That's always fun to talk to John Mayberry.
Big John, huh? He loves baseball, doesn't he?
Yeah, you meet so many great people in this game, and you had a pleasure of playing underneath him in Kansas City, and it was a joy to come to the ballpark and listen to him just tell stories.
He can tell some stories. I had the pleasure of playing with him twice in Kansas City and then here in Toronto when I came here in '81.
He mentioned about getting tips about how to hit Nolan Ryan, and we asked him off the air, okay, what was it? And he says, I would get some hand movement before I would start to swing the bat. Rico Carty told me You can't have any hand movement. You just got to let him supply all the power. And he said he took him deep twice, Nolan Ryan.
Clayson Nix out in front of that pitch and pulled it foul. John was a very good first baseman. He was part of our first championship team in Kansas City in 1976. We played the New York Yankees in the ALCS and lost in the final game, bottom of the ninth inning, and John was our big first baseman.
I remember that shot of him running off the field as Chris Cham was rounded after the home run.
He stayed here long enough to watch Chambers touch first. Strike 3 call. Fastball on the outside corner. There's that approach Arrieta has taken down and away.
Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned Home Hardware or Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Quite a pitcher's duel going on here at Rogers Center. A 1-0 ball game. Yunel Escobar will bat for the third time. He's got 2 hits against Jake Arrieta. Orioles have no runs on 1 hit. Blue Jays have 1 run on 5 hits. 2 of those hits, Yunel Escobar.
Both of them off of fastballs from Arrieta. And he falls behind again. He's got a good arm. His fastball get up to 95 miles an hour. Control has just been his problem, or lack of control at times.
Well, that's a good breaking ball. Came out of his hand in the same angle as his fastball, and that's why Escobar chased. He thought it was the heater again.
About halfway to home, it looks like a fastball. You're sitting on it and watch the reaction from Escobar, the half swing, as it just disappears on him.
And the breaking ball, and Escobar loops it into center. He's 3 for 3 against Arrieta. Escobar had 3 hits in last night's game. He's done it again here tonight. We're just in the 5th.
The average is climbing. Keeps that front shoulder in long enough. Another breaking ball down and away, and knocks it into center field. You were talking about Arrieta and pounding away with his fastball. It was even more dramatic against lefties his last time out. Did that against the lefties, and they were 1 for 12 against them. Patterson pulled an outside pitch his last time up and hit it through the hole on the right side.
Good rip at a fastball, but he fouled it straight back. Mark Reynolds at third base in front of the bag, trying to guard against the bunt. Patterson most of the time will take the bunt up the first baseline. And he doesn't really drag bunt. He just kind of squares around and bunts it toward the second baseman.
Just a soft ground ball, and then just to let your legs do everything else. Arrieta is a very good athlete.
Patterson held up on the breaking ball. Arrieta pitched for Team USA in 2006, and he threw to JP Arencibia. That was a pretty impressive pitching staff they had, with David Price, Tommy Hunter, Jake Arrieta on Team USA. Arrieta was the star that summer of 2004. 2006 actually was the team they played on. Ricky Romero played on the 2004 team. He and Luke Kochaver were pitchers on that team for Team USA. Romero leads 1-0 here. Bottom of the 5th. Patterson pops it over near the seats, and that'll get back out of play.
So Arrieta has all those accolades, pitching for those Team USA. Lasted till the 5th round for the Orioles to pick 7. Player with a good arm. He was drafted out of Texas Christian University.
Like so many of these pitchers that are upper echelon draft picks, Arrieta bounced out of high school, went to junior college, and then finally settled at TCU, where he really blossomed in his sophomore season. He went 14-4 in his sophomore season. That really put him on the map. But in the summer of 2006, he went 4-0 with a 0.27 ERA, pitching for Team USA.
Late bloomer. He's 6'4", 225 pounds.
Good fastball, paints the inside corner. That's 8 strikeouts now for Arrieta. That's just one off his career high set earlier this season.
Just freezes Corey Patterson. Watch the movement as it comes back. He used the fastball away, and this time carves the inside corner. And Corey knows it.
That's just the 3rd strikeout for Arrieta. Bautista jumps on that fastball, and the ball boy saved him down the left field line. Ball boy jumped up and got a glove on that before it got into the seats, and
that could have hurt somebody.
Yeah, did a pretty good job. Escobar with his 3rd hit at first base. There are 2 outs now.
If you are thinking right side of the infield, you can roll one on the right side and get a base hit. Derek Lee, the first baseman, has to hold him on, and you can see the second baseman playing behind the bag. Lots of room on the right side, but I don't think that's what Bautista's thinking about.
Hits this one to center field, but got it off the end of the bat. An easy play for Adam Jones, and Arrieta gets out of the 5th. We have played 5 complete here at Rogers Center. It's a 1-0 game. Great pitchers duel, Arrieta and Romero. And both Arrieta and Romero have really been throwing quality pitches all night long.
They certainly have. That 1 run came all the way back in the 1st inning. And they are economical also. Romero, 5 innings. He's thrown just 62 pitches. And given up just the 1 hit.
Whatever was going on with his finger, we saw George Poulos, the trainer, attending to Ricky Romero's ring finger. Doesn't appear to be a problem. Sometimes the pitchers will knock a nail off the corner and they'll have to file it down just to take away the sharp edges, or it might be pushing into that flesh underneath that nail. But whatever it is, doesn't seem to be a problem.
Last inning, he walked a batter. His 2nd of the game. And whenever you watch Ricky Romero work, when he is getting his curveball over for strikes, when he's standing tall on that rubber, has a good release point with his curveball. then you know he's going to have good games. He goes to the mound with a good fastball and a good changeup. But when he had that third pitch, that good curveball, that's when you know he's got the special stuff.
That was an interesting exchange between Andino and Jerry Lane. Andino didn't agree with that curveball strike. And Jerry Lane kind of got in his face and said, it was a strike because I said it was a strike. Look at this. It's a strike, Robert.
Wow.
That's unusual. You don't see that very often from umpires. They generally try to maintain a very low key behind the plate. But you can see Andino still talking about it. And they're still having a discussion. Now Buck Showalter's aware of what's going on. He said, hey, what's wrong, Jerry? What's going on? So now Buck's getting Lane's side of things. He just wanted to make sure that Andino didn't get himself tossed out of this game. So things have calmed down. Now it's a 2-2 count to Robert Andino. There's the strikeout. What a good cutter down and in a tough spot.
Strikeout number 7 tonight for Romero. He has done it with the change, the curve, and now cuts this ball right underneath the bat of Andino. Try to crowd him a little bit, and he kept it down and in.
They made a great point about Ricky Romero, boy. When he has that very patient delivery and you can really feel the rhythm working where he doesn't jump toward the plate, he's going to have a good game.
That's the one thing that they have really worked on the last couple of years, he and Bruce Walton, about standing tall and staying over that rubber as long as you can so your arm can catch up with the rest of your body.
Just foul. Alex Anthopoulos talked about Romero when they saw him pitch at Cal State Fullerton as a collegiate player. And Romero ran dramatically off the mound toward the third base foul line. And at that time, Alex thought, wow, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to overcome that. But the one thing that Romero has taught Anthopoulos is if the player is athletic and dedicated, he can make the adjustments necessary, and obviously Ricky Romero has done that.
Yeah, he has made the adjustments to make himself a better pitcher year in and year out. I think also you have to be able to know and understand what you have to do to be successful. And if you're falling off to the third base side every single time, you're just taking away miles per hour from your pitches.
That's number 8 now for Romero. Last 2 here in this 6th inning.
Second time that he has gotten J.J. Hardy tonight.
Nick Markakis has grounded to short and walked. And excuse me, foul ball. Again, to get back to the John Farrell comment about Ricky Romero making a straight line improvement. There have been no step back. Farrell says that oftentimes even the young pitchers like Clay Buchholz and John Lester will have to go back and forth to the minors and really hone their skills 2 or 3 different times. Romero has made the adjustments necessary before he got to the big leagues, and then he learned quickly the adjustments he was going to have to make right here in the big leagues. There's a base hit for Markakis. Davis will cut it off and keep Markakis at first.
You know, it's funny for young players that they can zoom right through the minor leagues, and I don't think Ricky Romero really zoomed through the minor leagues. I mean, there was a lot of failure in a time where he had to really learn himself. But once he started throwing more strikes consistently, I remember a couple of spring trainings ago that there was talk about him moving out and moving to the minor leagues, but started throwing more strikes consistently, starting to learn himself a little bit more, and then continue to get better. Now you're starting to see the polished product.
Well, to give you an idea about the struggles, 2006, Romero started out in the Florida State League at Dunedin, went 1-2, and then went 2-7 at AA with an ERA over 5. Back to AA the next year, 3-6. So it wasn't a snap your fingers and, oh, here's a major league pitcher. We talk about all this in reference to Kyle Drabek being sent back. And if you were to evaluate just raw stuff, fastball, breaking ball, changeup, strength, everything, Drabek probably grayed out better than Romero. It's a high fly ball. Should be playable for Bautista. He stops just in front of the warning track, and Romero has another good inning. He gives up a 2-out single to Markakis and nothing else. Rick Romero has been on his game. 8 strikeouts. Bottom of the 11th in a 5-5 game, connects against Koji Uehara.
It was a splitter that didn't split. It just stayed up right in the swing plane of Adam Lind. His 3rd walk-off home run in his career and a big win for the Blue Jays.
That 3rd walk-off home run ties him with Jesse Barfield, George Bell, Joe Carter, Carlos Delgado, and Vernon Wells for the franchise record in walk-off home runs. Of course, Carter had one extra one. That was in 1993 against a fellow named Mitch Williams, right here at Rogers Center.
He has just been wearing out the O's coming into this game tonight, and that's why they took the bat right out of his hand last time up. They intentionally walked him. 6 for 8, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs.
You see the career walk-off home runs for Adam Lind, Seattle, 10th inning solo shot. Tampa Bay last year, that came against Rafael Soriano, a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th, and then a home run last night in the 11th. Well, that's a good 2-seam fastball. Arrieta changed his program a bit. He'd been working left-handers down and away. He came inside with that heater.
Now freezing them. There's that ball. Surprising some of those left-handed batters for the Blue Jays here the last couple of innings, freezing them.
That's a good backup pitch right there. You throw the 2-seamer inside and then come with a breaking ball inside. You're showing a batter balls in 2 different directions.
That's what pitching has really become. If you were able to do that, make it go both ways on each side of the plate, that's when you become very successful.
Good job fouling off that breaking ball. Two-two to Adam Lind, leading off the 6th inning. It's a 1-0 ball game. Ricky Romero and Jake Arrieta hooked up in a good one. And backdoor with a breaking ball. He strikes out Lynn to start the 6th. That's one out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Marlins are showing an awful lot of heart, giving all they've had to deal with the adversity, and they're hanging tough in that division. Atlanta's coming on like gangbusters as well.
Watch out for Atlanta. The Florida Marlins get Hanley Ramirez back yesterday. They are a dangerous team. And that's a little bit of a surprise because Doc has owned Florida the last couple of years.
He had his perfect game against Florida, and he's been a guy that's always dominated that team. Ball on a strike to Juan Rivera. His single came in the first. It was a shot into right field. And he struck out on a good two-seam fastball in the third.
Command and control. That's what you want with young pitchers. Arrieta, just 25 years old. Walks are down now, starting to throw more pitches.
Long drive left field. Juan Rivera, home run. Number 5 on the season for Rivera. It's 2-0 Blue Jays, both home runs. Arrieta has now allowed 12 home runs this season.
7 of them to left-handers, and this is number 5 to a right-hander. He struck out Juan Rivera last time up with a two-seamer that just buzzed right under his hands. This time it stayed over the plate and right in the wheelhouse. No doubt about that one for Juan Rivera.
Great sound off the bat. 2 solo home runs. Escobar and now Rivera. Home runs have been a problem for Jake Arrieta all season long. Juan Rivera doing a pretty good job of staying sharp. Not getting an awful lot of regular at-bats here lately. He has 2 hits tonight. He and Escobar have done the damage. Breaking ball pulled to short. Big hop for J.J. Hardy. 2 outs.
We start interleague play on Friday in Cincinnati. We're going to see 3 right-handers in that first series. How do you get Juan Rivera into the game?
John Farrell was contemplating that today in his pregame scrum. Tough to get Rivera into the ball game. Who are you going to take out in the outfield? Corey Patterson, Rajay Davis, Bautista, obviously all having good offensive seasons, and certainly want to keep Patterson's bat in against the right-handers.
I'll tell you, it'll give you a potent bat off the bench if you need him late in the game for a pinch hitter.
Now, I anticipate that the Blue Jays will add another position player before they play on Friday night in Cincinnati. Aaron Hill down the left field line, and Rhino won't catch this. He plays it well off the wall. The throw to second is offline. Hill has a double. He's hit the ball sharply 3 times tonight.
Yeah, didn't have anything to show for it for his first 2 times up as he was robbed by the left fielder. Nolan Reimold this time gets the head out on one of those inside pitches and lines it off the wall down the left field line. Right to Reimold and the throw off line, so Hill is in scoring position.
13th double of the season for Hill. Isn't it interesting? We talked about Arrieta working down and away from right-handers. He had no problem. Then he makes a pretty good pitch inside, and Hill's able to get the head out and hits it off the wall and left.
I bet you he goes back away now.
There's just not much room for air on the inner half. Bouncing ball. Hardy gloves it. Throws to first. What a play. Lee can't come up with it. And Hill will go over to first. Aaron Hill forgot how many outs there were.
Yeah, you see his reaction with Brian Butterfield, the third base coach. Might have been able to score when that ball was thrown away if he broke right away.
Yeah, he didn't remember how many outs there were. If he breaks on this play and then Lee bobbles it, he's got a chance to score.
Yeah, he's at second base. There's 2 outs, and the ball is going to be hit to his left. Hardy does everything he can, but cannot come up with it on the other end is Derek Lee.
Well, they give an error on that play. Hill ends up at third. But certainly if he breaks on contact as he should have with 2 outs, he scores.
Yeah, he's on third. Watch the break. 2 outs, you're running on contact, and he's actually going back to the bag. And when the ball is not handled by Lee, jogs into third base.
Boy, that's a tough error on J.J. Hardy. He went behind the bag. He was beyond the infield when he made the throw. That's his first error of the season, and that's a tough error.
That's a do-or-die play by a shortstop. Makes great range, makes the play.
To me, that's an infield hit.
That's an infield hit all the way.
Now, Flap Waiters will come out to go over the first and third steal situation. Jason Nix is 0 for 2. Now it has been changed. It is an infield hit, and the air ball in the dirt allows Hill to go to third base. So Rajai Davis gets an infield hit. Maybe we ought to speak up more on those close calls. But that was clearly an infield hit. The air on the throw allowed Hill to move from second to third. Still the first air of the season for J.J. Hardy. Nix gets underneath it and drives it to the warning track, but Reimold is there and he'll haul it in. But the Blue Jays get another run, a solo home run. It comes with 1 out in the 6th. Juan Rivera goes down. Home run of the season. All around the leaderboards are among active players. He'll be up there in home runs, RBIs, batting average.
At one time, a great fielder, too, and a base stealer. When he was younger, he could steal bases, and what an arm from right field.
Talks about getting this batting style as a kid in the Dominican Republic, hitting bottle caps with a broomstick.
Think about that. You would throw bottle caps, like a frisbee, you'd throw it to him. He was hitting with a broomstick. And he would have to make contact.
And you can see the similarities in his stroke as how he really extends through the hitting zone. And he goes down and hits balls literally that are just short of bouncing in the dirt. 40 steals in Montreal in 2002. It was a career high. He missed a 40 season by 1 home run. Drove in 111 runs.
Battled some knee problems the last few years. Mainly a DH now. He made some throws when he was with the Montreal Expos that brought back memories of Ellis Valentine, who used to play for the Expos. Another great arm in the outfield.
The ball is ripped toward the gap in left field. Corey Patterson cuts it off. Guerrero starts things off for the Orioles with a leadoff single. Just a reminder, next on Sportsnet, the MLB will continue. The Angels will take on the Seattle Mariners. That'll be on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Connected on Sportsnet East and Ontario. Lots of baseball action and more baseball analysis and replays of highlights of the day's action in Major League Baseball following the game. Matt Wieters, the catcher.
These were the two players who in last night's game did the damage late for the Orioles.
8th inning. Mark Sepchinski issued the leadoff walk to Guerrero, and Matt Wieters connected with his 6th home run of the season. That tied it at 5-all. John Farrell was asked about that move last night when he brought in Sepchinski to face a right-handed batter in Guerrero and then the switch hitter in Wieters, and he said, yeah, he said, I went and looked at the history and I thought, well, Sepchinski's handled Wieters in the past. Ball is driven to right, but it'll hang up for Bautista. Wieters is retired, but Farrell said it probably was a poor decision. It didn't really relate to the fact that Mark was having trouble commanding his fastball right now, but boy, he stood up and answered the questions about that move from last night's game.
And if it comes up tonight, I'm sure he'd do it differently.
But the Blue Jays were able to overcome that. After that, Casey Janssen came in the 8th inning and did a great job. Struck out 3 to finish out that 8th inning. Ball on the strike, 1 out. We are in the 7th inning. Blue Jays have staked Ricky Romero to a 2-0 lead. There's a foul ball, and we'd like to take this time to wish a happy birthday to one of the best Blue Jay fans all across the country, Don Carson. He is 80 years old today, and I know she's watching, and she is the mother of our great stats man, Scott Carson. And not only is her birthday today, but tomorrow, she and her husband, Stu, will celebrate their anniversary. 60th anniversary tomorrow. How about that? A birthday and a 60th anniversary.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Carson.
And we know you watch all the time. And there's Scott, does a great job for us. And we're glad to have him on the team. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Curveball, and Derek Lee strikes out. Boy, Ricky Romero's had that good hook from the first pitch of the ball game. He struck out J.J. Hardy in the first with it. With 2 outs, let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, thank God I didn't think the Red Sox were ever going to score again.
Just shows you what kind of year James Shields is having.
They were shut out last night on a 5-hitter by James Shields. They scored 14 on Sunday and then can't come up with a single run, but Shields is really having a great season. Mark Reynolds. Looks like he may have gone too far indeed. Bob Davison down at first rings him up 0-2. Boy, he starts his swing early, doesn't he?
Yeah. He should take some of that early swing and give it to Nick Markakis, so Markakis could start a little earlier and he can lay back a little bit. But when you have a long swing like that, sometimes you have to start it early.
Ricky Romero ahead of Reynolds 0-2. Curveball does the trick. Romero strikes out 2 in the 7th. He has 10 punch-outs tonight. It's been all about the pitchers. Ricky Romero is shutting out the Orioles on just 3 hits. Wrap up this 3-game series. Zach Stewart will make his major league debut here tomorrow. Action begins at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the pregame show with Jamie and Greg. 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Jays on Sportsnet. Orioles Blue Jays. Game 3 of this 3-game set. Zach Stewart, 24-year-old, will make his major league debut. He went 4-3 in 12 starts for AA New Hampshire. You know, Escobar's had some night against Jake Arrieta. And he got a little calling cut.
A little wake-up call.
You look a little comfortable, Mr. Escobar. 3 for 3, a leadoff home run. Average up to 293.
His 5th 3-hit game this season. He has not had a 4-hit season or 4-hit game yet. Everybody getting into the mood here tonight, 70s night.
Bouncing ball to third. Reynolds had to wait on it, but still has time to get Escobar. You mentioned Zach Stewart. He'll go up against Jeremy Guthrie in his major league debut tomorrow, and this is what he did at AA.
Power pitcher, sinker slider type of pitcher. He's got to be able to work his change and curveball over for strikes. I'm anxious to see him. I've heard about him for the last couple of years. Well, really, when he pitched for the Reds, my hometown Reds, there was big talk that he was their #1 pitcher in their organization at the time.
First time around in spring training, he was part of that mix for the starting jobs, and quickly he was taken out of that role. Corey Patterson pops it into foul ground. Reynolds over on the warning track and makes a good catch just before he slammed into that wall. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. So Jose Bautista will hit. He is 0 for 3 so far. He struck out in a tough situation in the third with a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. Again, we see the infield defense shifted around to the left side. What would this tell you as a hitter as far how they're going to pitch you?
I would think it would be soft stuff. See if you can pull something into that shift. And he starts him off with a couple of breaking balls. Bautista's a smart hitter. He'll get a feel for what they're trying to do to him. And if he feels like he can go the other way for a base hit, he was saying they needed base runners the other night, he will take advantage of that shift.
It's one thing to shift to a hitter's strengths, and you can see he pulls most of his hits to left. But then you've got to make pitches as well. Pretty good pitch, just missed downstairs.
Soft stuff again. 3 of the 4 pitches have been soft.
But if you're going to play an exaggerated defense, your pitcher better hit his spots. Because if he doesn't, he's going to cross up the defense. There's gaping holes all over the diamond. Continue to give him a steady diet of breaking balls, and they were comfortable putting him on. So again, Adam Lind will have a chance to take advantage with a runner on, but before that, Buck Showalter looks like he's got a pitching change on his mind. He'll take the ball from Arrieta, and they will go to the bullpen. Got a couple of left-handers down there. Michael Gonzalez pitched in the game last night. They also have Clay Rapata, and that's who we're going to see. The sidearm and left-hander will come on to face Lind when we come back. Chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. TD Comfort Zone front and center here on a great night for baseball. Whale of a pitching performance. Jake Arrieta has turned it over to the bullpen. Clay Rapata, the side-arming left-hander, will come on to try to hit Adam Lind to end the 7th.
He has pitched for the Chicago Cubs, Detroit Tigers, Texas last year, and then the Orioles signed him last January as a minor league free agent. His job is basically one batter.
Might not even be one batter if he picks off Bautista. Well, that's a pretty good move.
He's got that sidewinder. You said it. It comes from down under. So he tucks this front shoulder, and he's got a good move over at first base. Left-handers have not been able to figure him out this year.
Well, that's the whole key for specialists like Rapata. Throw the first pitch, strike. He does it with a breaking ball, and now he's really got the upper hand in this matchup. Tough delivery.
You got to really force yourself to keep that front shoulder in there. Don't look where that arm is when he lets go of it. You got to keep an eye on that ball, and he'll keep dotting that outside corner with that breaking ball.
And he has the ability to back off the breaking ball and still make a good pitch. That's exactly what he did to Lynn.
Take a little something off, change speeds. Lefties, he's only given up 3 hits all season long versus a left-handed batter.
A little more velocity than you might think with that last fastball of 88 miles an hour. And here's the whole thing to his success is keeping the ball down and away from left-handed hitters.
Yeah, don't hang it. Stay away from them.
Another quick move to first, but it was on the wrong side of the base. And a good job of leaving base runners on when he's entered the game. Bautista bounced off and Rapala stepped off. Got a cat and mouse game going on. Lind drive to right field. Markakis looking up at the wall. Home run, Adam Lind. He is on fire. .4-0 Blue Jays on Lind's 13th home run of the season.
A couple more RBIs. That gives him 41 now. And the whole thing for a lefty specialist is you throw your breaking ball with 2 strikes away. You expand the strike zone, but he misses his spot. I don't know if that's because he paid so much attention to Bautista over at first base, but he threw a slider, spun it up there, stayed in the middle of the plate, and Lind didn't miss it.
Boy, that's right in his wheelhouse. You leave that ball on the inner half, and I don't care how nasty you are, he can get to it, and he smoked it. He is on fire. His 4th home run against the Orioles in the last 3 games. Adam Lind has pushed the Blue Jays to a 4-0 lead. Earned runs.
Yeah, all of the runs coming. We have a home run tonight by the Blue Jays. A couple of solo home runs, Escobar and Rivera, and then the 2-run home run we just saw from Adam Lind. So Jake Arrieta pitches well, but cannot win this game. Jason Birkin into the game. He was just recalled today.
Tough start for his season. He's appeared in 15 games, and he was just recalled. Alfredo Simone was placed on the disabled list, and Clay Rapata couldn't get his man. He was assigned Adam Lind, and Lind hit the home run. Boy, this is exactly what you want to see from 3 and 4. They walked Bautista with 2 outs, didn't give in to him, and then they had the left-hander for Lynn, and he blew up all that strategy.
Yeah, didn't miss his pitch.
How about Juan Rivera? Up and away, takes it down the right field line. Marquez gets over quickly. He's got a strong arm. Throw is not in time. What a night for Juan Rivera. 3 hits, including a home run.
Now just needs a triple for the cycle. Single, double, home run. He singled to right field his first time up, homered to left field. Now this time keeps the ball between Derek Lee and the bag. Just slashes it right by Lee. Extra bases down the right field line.
11 hits now for the Blue Jays. Boy, no matter what's wrong with the Blue Jay bats, a little Oriole pitching will straighten them out. What a streak. Orioles are on the verge of losing 16 straight here at Rogers Center,
which is a record for the Blue Jays. Last night, with that walk-off home run by Lynn, it broke a record that they were tied with. Blue Jays had beaten the Orioles 14 straight times from June of '98 to May of 2000, 14 straight times.
Buck Showalter talking with Rick Adair, and Adair made the motion. Yeah, they left that pitch inside to Lynn, and that killed him. And they had it set up, and Lynn looked overmatched when he got the ball, when Rapata got the ball away from him, but he got too much of the inner half. That's only the second at bat Lynn has had against Clay Rapata, and that's the first hit. He's 1 for 2, but boy, that was a big one. A 2-run home run has expanded the Blue Jays lead to 4-0. He doesn't look like he's really on fire, but boy, is he swinging a hot bat.
How about that for staying under control?
Just another ho-hum day for Adam Lynn, the way he's been swinging the bat. We talked about Lynn after he had such a hot streak. He came out of the game on May 7th. That was the Verlander no-hitter. And he said he felt his back problem Friday night before that game. But going into that Saturday game, his previous 11 games, he hit .477 with 6 home runs and drove in 15. And he was smoking. But for them to miss almost 4 weeks with the bad back, and for a long time didn't even pick up a bat.
Right. Couldn't do baseball activities.
Worked on his conditioning, and then to come back and pick it up at the same pace, it's just remarkable.
Hitting is not that easy, but right now he is making it look easy. Very still at the plate. Hardly any movement.
And Sevilla drives it to center, but Adam Jones is going to get there. Blue Jays will finally retired here in the 7th, but Adam Lynn, a 2-out home run. Clay Rapata tries to get the ball away, catches too much of the plate. Home run number 13 for Lynn. It's 4-0 Blue Jays. on. Romero now pitching into the 8th inning. This is the 7th straight game Romero has pitched innings. And that's exactly what you need from your starter.
That's what you need.
Consistency.
From your ace right there. Give the bullpen a little bit of a break. Pitch deep into the ball game, which he has been doing, and still under 100 pitches as we start the 8th inning. He has looked in control from the first pitch, the first batter of this game.
He started out this ball game throwing 9 straight strikes. Took him just 14 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. Nolan Raimo has struck out twice against Romero. I mean, this is like watching a painter just sit back and say, okay, I need a little red here. I'm going to dot that one out on the outside. Then I'm going to throw you a curveball, and then you're going to see this slider down and in. This doesn't happen very often where a pitcher has everything working and can really picture the pitch and where it's going before he throws it.
And that's what pitching is all about. Take a little off, put a little on, move it around the strike zone, hit your spots, and you will pile up the strikeouts. He's tied his season high in strikeouts with 10. His career high in strikeouts has been done twice. That's 12.
2-2 to Raimo. Strike 3 call. He is throwing everything for strikes, confusing the Oriole hitters. 1 out here in the 8th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update. Derek Jeter, of course, on a disabled list. Derek Holland against Ivan Nova, the starters in that ball game. Texas has moved 2 games out in front of the American League West over Seattle. Rangers going into the game tonight have lost 3 in a row.
I know they're the evil empire and they should win, but they've had a lot of injuries this year. Yeah, their whole bullpen has been like wiped out except Mariano Rivera.
Soriano's out. Jabba Chamberlain's out for the year.
Pedro Feliciano, left-hander that they signed, was going to be a big left-hander. Damaso Marte
has not pitched at all.
Hasn't pitched at all.
Colon's on the DL with a hamstring problem, although they expect to get him back soon. But they have hung in there. Like you say, not that anybody's rooting for him. Robert Andino, little lazy fly ball into center. Easy play for Rajai Davis. 2 outs.
The thrill of racing returns with the Honda Indy Toronto. Catch all the adrenaline and excitement July 8th to 10th. Get your tickets at HondaIndyToronto.com.
Two outs, back to the top of the order. J.J. Hardy has struck out twice. He's also doubled.
I bet you if you ask Ricky Romero after tonight's game, the way he is cruising, did you have maximum effort on your pitches? I mean, he just looks like so smooth, and it's not a grind to come in and throw strikes.
Now, this is what you call repeating your delivery. And that's what every pitcher's goal is. You strive to repeat your delivery, and it's almost as if you could throw strikes with your eyes closed.
Yeah, effortless.
Got him. Another curveball. Hardy goes down for the 3rd time. That makes 12 strikeouts for Ricky Romero. He has tied his career high. Now it's time for a connected update with Jamie and Greg live from the Blackberry Broadcast Studio here at Rogers Center. struck out 12 was last May 15th against the Texas Rangers. Also had a 12 strikeout game against Chicago. Kevin Gregg, former Blue Jay, comes in. Needs some work here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Last time he worked was 4 days ago when he suffered a blown save, his 4th of the season. He is the closer for the Baltimore Orioles. 4 days off is a long time to go without working, so Gray comes in to pitch the bottom of the 8th.
Aaron Hill gets underneath this high fastball and lifts the lazy fly ball to the left. First out of the 8th. Unbelievable how dominant the Blue Jays have been over the Orioles. Since August 8th of 09 at Rogers Center, the Blue Jays have won all 15 games, and the numbers back it up.
Yeah, big time. Outscoring them 3-1. Out-homering them 34-7. And we were talking about those last 15 wins here at home. The record that they broke last night, their own record for consecutive wins against one team, was the Baltimore Orioles. Between 98 and 2000, May of 2000, they had won 14 consecutive home games. So that's 2 streaks of at least 14 against one team.
Last year with the Jays, Kevin Gregg went 2-6. Signed as a free agent with Baltimore. Yeah, that's interesting. The longest winning streak, both 15 games and 14 games, have both been against the Orioles. There's a cut fastball that gets Davis. 2 outs here in the 8th.
Some of the other teams on that list of consecutive wins at home by the Blue Jays. They beat the White Sox 10 consecutive times between 2007 and 9. They beat the Twins in 84 and 85 10 straight times. But nothing like what they have done to the Orioles over the last couple of years.
Now, to give you an idea just how lopsided this has been, you look around the longest active home winning streaks. Blue Jays have that record as well, 15 games. Cleveland over the Tigers. Cleveland won 11 straight against Detroit at home. The San Francisco Giants, this is an interesting one. They have 11 straight at home against the Texas Rangers. I mean, that spans a long period of time, 98 to 2009, but Texas hasn't won much in San Francisco.
That's interesting with that wide of a margin. I mean, one time you figure you'd be able to sneak one win in there. I mean,
totally different teams.
Totally different.
I mean, June of 98 to June of 2009. Somebody's got to win a game in between them. Colorado against the Reds. Colorado's won 10 straight at home back in 08 to 09, and Kevin Gregg has a quick inning here in the 8th. We'll go to the 9th inning. The Blue Jays and Ricky Romero are up 4-0. Now let's send it back to the Connected Studio. Here's Martine Geyer.
Ricky Romero is trying to make that one run stand up. They've been able to add 3 more, but that's the only run they might have needed. The way Romero has been pitching tonight.
Ricky Romero's on a roll. Even though he's gone just 3-2 over his last 6 starts. This is the 7th consecutive start where he's pitched at least 7 innings. Nick Markakis 1 for 2 with a walk. Romero has struck out 12. That ties his career high. And see, we had that go off his glove. Looked like it caught Jerry Lane on the shin guard, and Romero has fallen behind 2-0. Just 107 pitches Romero is working here in the 9th. There's a strike, 2-1.
Romero has thrown 2 complete games this year, but he hasn't thrown 9 innings. Both of those complete games coming on the road, one in Seattle and one in Kansas City.
A little bit more effort than we have seen from Romero all night long. He tried to reach back for a little extra, and that pushes the count to 3-1.
He doesn't need to do that. Every pitch tonight he has stayed in his lanes. It has looked effortless.
He loses Markakis to start the night.
The thrill of racing returns with the Honda Indy Toronto. Catch all the adrenaline and excitement July 8th to 10th. Get your tickets at HondaIndyToronto.com.
Nobody out. Adam Jones is 0 for 3 tonight. Jones 0 for 5 in last night's game. Squares to bunt, takes the ball.
Just in case a couple of runners get on and Romero can't finish it, Frank Francisco is up and getting loose if they need him. Romero right now lost it a little bit. It looks like the Orioles are taking a strike. They are looking for some base runners. Nick Markakis leads off the 9th inning with a walk. Jones taking all the way for ball 1.
2-0, and Aaron Sevey is going to take a trip to the mound. I bet there's a little extra adrenaline. Romero knows there's a shutout on the line, a complete game. He's pitched 1 career shutout. That came last year against the Yankees through a 2-hitter at Yankee Stadium. Aaron Sevey out just trying to help him regroup and get him back into the groove. First and foremost, the manager's thinking about winning the game.
Winning the game, that's right. That's why he got Francisco up to start this inning, just in case.
Three and 0. It's a dangerous lineup, middle of the order. Vladimir Guerrero is on deck. Matt Wieters. And then Derek Lee. Back-to-back walks here in the 9th. Just a reminder, fan, stay tuned for Canucks Connected Stanley Cup Edition Game 7 post-game show following the Canucks game on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. Stanley Cup wrap-up, celebrations, analysis, and reaction. All coming right up. Ricky Romero will give up the baseball. He's not too happy about it, but back-to-back walks here in the 9th inning will take him out of the game, and he'll look to the bullpen to finish it up. Ricky Romero had 12 strikeouts here tonight. That ties his career high. Third time he's done that. But 2 walks, his third and fourth walk of the night, forced him out of the game, and Frank Francisco will come in.
Righty's hitting just 200 against Francisco. Is showing a little bit more of a fastball of late. 94, 95 miles an hour. Francisco is 5 for 8 in save situations, and now this is a save situation with the first 2 batters getting on board here. Tying run that will be on deck, and that will be Matt Wieters as Vladimir Guerrero heads to home plate.
This is not a favorable matchup for Francisco. Vladdy Guerrero 4 for 10 against the big right-hander, but 3 of those 4 hits have been home runs. And John Farrell was asked today, in his mind, what's a good sampling to get a feel for a matchup? He said 10 at-bats.
There you go. It's power versus power. Francisco's got a good fastball, and Guerrero likes the heat.
First and second, nobody out. Upstairs with the fastball. More action in the Blue Jays bullpen. The right-handers Casey Jansen, the lefty is Luis Perez. 4-0 Blue Jays lead here in the ninth. They were right about the Orioles taking a strike. That's been their approach this whole inning.
Just to try and get on base. They need base runners. Trying to get that tying run to the plate.
Ball and a strike. Good fastball. Trying to come inside. Went all the way across the plate but caught the corner.
95 miles an hour from Francisco.
Francisco ahead, 1-2. Another fastball, and he beats Guerrero. Popped up into shallow right. Hill is there. First out of the inning. Francisco's gotten into trouble using his secondary pitches. His fastball is good.
Yes.
It's a heavy, hard fastball, and he jammed Guerrero first out of this inning.
Got a save in New York, ending the game by throwing a fastball right by Curtis Granderson. But then the next day it came up in the same situation, threw him a breaking ball, and he got a base hit off of it. That time he challenged Guerrero with his best fastball.
Matt Wieters, the catcher, with 1 out. The fastball is good here tonight from Francisco. Another 95-mile-an-hour heater. Ball and a strike. First time Matt Wieters has faced Frank Francisco, and I would think the pitcher would want to be aggressive. Go right after him with that good fastball.
Especially Matt Wieters, batting left-handed, 255. Right-handed, he's 328.
Just barely foul outside the bag at third.
Well, you said he hasn't faced him before, so this is a good time to throw the splitter. He's never seen it before. 2 strikes. You've thrown 3 straight fastballs. Bring it right here.
Looks like a fastball out of your hand. Wieters got to start the bat. 1 out, first and second. Fastball, he's late on it. Well, he's certainly in a swing mode right now, and that's what you want if you're going to throw that splitter.
Swing mode. It looks like a fastball and then just drops.
Back-to-back walks to Markakis and Jones, issued by Ricky Romero. Francisco got Guerrero to pop up. fastball, base hit into right field. Markakis is going to come around third. He'll score. The throw goes into second. Jones went first to third. Waiters picks up the RBI on the fastball. 31st ribby of the season for the Orioles catcher.
Yeah, he is so good with runners in scoring position. Leads all of major leaguers with a .488 average with runners in scoring position. Tough to figure that one out, as Waiters has just been so good. Short swing and drills it into right field for another hit with a runner in scoring position.
Jones at third. Waiters at first. The time runs at the plate. Derek Lee 0 for 3 tonight. Good fastball, 96, a little extra. Blue Jays turned a double play to end the 4th inning. Got Vladimir Guerrero to get into the 6-4-3 double play.
This is mano a mano right here. It's like Francisco's reaching back for a little something extra. Me versus Lee.
0-2. And Sevilla wasn't quite ready to make sure Francisco was set. Comes inside. Derek Lee's always been a better low ball hitter than high ball hitter. He's a big guy and likes to extend those arms, and he can get down and hit that knee-high fastball.
Maybe time for climbing the ladder with a good high fastball, about letter high. See if he'll go after it.
Third base, second for one. Hill back to first. Double play, and the Blue Jays win it. Frank Francisco comes out of the bullpen and saves it for Ricky Romero. Romero improves to 5-5 on the season. The Orioles score a run in tonight. Junel Escobar had 3 hits, including a leadoff home run in the first. Juan Rivera coming off the bench, starting at first base. A big 3-hit night. His 5th home run of the season. And Adam Lind, a 2-run home run in the 7th. Romero, 5-5 on the season, ties his career high with 12 strikeouts. Romero was in charge. 2 walks in the 9th led to his being lifted, but Francisco saves it. Now it's time to join Jamie Campbell.